Okay, how's it going? Let's just do a quick review. Right, Kathy. Let's see, entering here, you're buried here. Not bad, pretty good. Right, let's try and get a little bit more weight on the blade. Right, lean on the paddle a little more. Try not to rely on the top shoulder coming down. Remember, you want to set the outside shoulder. Right, lean on the paddle with the outside shoulder, and then swing the inside hip forward. Right, that will cause the top shoulder to subconsciously press down on the paddle. Right, same for Wendy. Wendy's got nice catch. Right, she enters here. She's buried. The paddle's positive, really nice. Where you want to try and improve on is your the top shoulder. Right, it's a little bit. How should I say? It's just kind of collapsing down a little bit. Right, you got to set the outside shoulder. Right, once it's set, you got to swing the inside hip forward. Right, that will cause the top shoulder to subconsciously press down and come down. Right, however, right here, right, your outside shoulder is coming down, and then your top shoulder comes down along with it. Right, so remember, you want to set the outside shoulder. Once it's set, you're swinging the inside hip forward, and that will cause the top shoulder to subconsciously press down. Right, with Celia, she's entering here. She's only buried there. Right, so watch where her blade's buried. The paddle angle is neutral. So overreaching just a little bit. Right, coming about 2 inches closer, but get deeper. Get the blade buried and maintain a positive paddle angle. Let's look at Jennifer. Top hand a little too close to the forehead. Right, that means that you're not rotating the inside hip back enough. So extend the top hand a little further away from your face, and then you'll be able to support yourself better in the water. But looking good, nice connection, really aggressive, weights on the blade. It's just I'd like to see a little bit more extend that top hand to increase your leverage. Right, behind her we have Liz. Let's take a look at Liz. Right. So Liz, right, you need to find that catch. You enter here, but your paddle is only buried when it's negative. So you enter here, you're buried there, right? Your blade is, the point where your blade is buried, the paddle's already negative, right? So you're missing the entire front half of the stroke, right? So you're pulling back with the bottom hand and coming down with the top hand, right? And that's what we want to try and get away from, move on from. Behind Liz, I think that's Sarah. Or is it Anastasia? Anastasia, yeah. So she enters here. Well, a little better, yeah, that's good. Top hand, right, kind of like Jennifer, a little too close to the forehead. So I like her to extend it out, right, rotate the inside hip back, right, establish support on the paddle up front, lean on it. Okay, behind we have Cal. Enters here, fully buried, not bad. Same thing, top hand just a little too close to the forehead, right, which means that your leverage is not as great as it could be, potentially be. All right, let's take a look at the left side. We have Sarah, seat 1. Let's see, okay, she enters here, buried, nice. Paddle is positive. When the blade's buried, that's good. Weights on it, that's good. Nice. Right, sets the blade. Right, same thing, right? The top shoulder, similar to Wendy. Right, the top shoulder comes down a little too soon. So once you've anchored the outside shoulder to the water, focus on the inside hip swinging forward. Right. Behind her we have who's that? Oh, okay. Let's take a look at Tori. Right. So Tori's got a nice positive angle. The tip of the surface touches here. Buried. There's a little more patience, right? So tip of paddle touches the surface here. She's buried there, right? So overreaching just a little bit too much. Come in 2 inches closer, but get it a little deeper. Okay, let me see. Who do we have here? Anne, right? A little late coming out, right? Overreaching by quite a lot, and I think you need to come in about 3 inches closer to what you're normally used to. Let's see, she enters here, buried. When the paddle is neutral, right? She's pulling the paddle back with the bottom arm and coming down with the top hand. Right, who else do we have? I think that's Lauren behind Anne. There's a little blob over there, but I think that's Lauren. Okay, all right, you need to... Right, your bottom arm breaks a little too soon, Lauren. Right, the elbow breaks too soon. You need to keep it. You need to make sure that the bottom arm's in tension. Right. However, right, what's happening is that you're pulling back with your bicep, with the bottom bicep, and therefore you're not in tension, and your weight's not on the paddle. But looking good. You've got the rhythm down. Right, the body is moving well. So you look at your shoulders as well. It's kind of collapsing a little bit, right, the top shoulder, and that's because you're pulling the paddle back with the bottom arm, and then the top shoulder kind of comes down. So it's hard to connect with the water that way, right? And who's behind you? Not sure. But looking well, ladies. I mean, you're moving really well together. Right, just Anne's a little late coming out because she's reaching too far forward. Remember, ladies, it's not how far you can reach. It's really how, is whether or not you can support yourself on the paddle, support your weight on the paddle, right? Lean on it. Donna's behind Lauren. Right, Donna just started, but looking good, right? Your exit, your top hand is dropping into the middle of the boat. And that's how it is. That's how everyone starts. Okay, let's take a look at the right side. I've already done Wendy. Monica. It's okay, actually. Look, her paddle enters here. The blade's buried is still at a positive angle, right? Top hand's a little close to the forehead, which means that your inside hip has not rotated back enough. It's a balancing act, right? I'm not telling you to contort your body, but it feels a little awkward during the recovery, but your momentum is moving forward, and then you're leaning on the paddle to establish support. All right, so behind me we have Eva. She enters here, right? Then she kind of rips the front half of the stroke. So she enters here, but by the time where the blade's buried, right, the paddle is already neutral and almost negative. In fact, it's about negative, right? So a little bit more patience on the catch, pulling back with the top arm and coming down with the top hand. That's what's happening with you. So a little more patience, right? Lean into the paddle, lead with the outside shoulder, boom, and set that outside shoulder, anchor it down, and then focus on the inside hip swinging forward, which will cause the top arm, the top shoulder to press down, subconsciously press down as a result of the inside hip swinging forward. Then we have Liz behind. I already did a video. Okay, Cal, looking good. So let's take a look at Doreen. Right, Doreen, a little late. Right, so Doreen, watch where your paddle enters the water. Right, enters here, but by the time it's buried, it's already negative. Right, so you got no catch. Right, you're pulling back too soon. Right, you're pulling the bottom arm back and coming down with the top hand way too soon. Right, you gotta complete your recovery. Lead the outside shoulder into the water. Right, so just observe, right? Your paddle enters here, and it's negative when it's buried. Right, so that's where you want to improve on. And over here we have, who's seat 1? It's Kathy, I think. Is it Kathy? Oh, no, it's Wendy as seat 1. Enters here, buried. Yeah, paddle is still positive. However, I think overreaching just a little bit. Right, top hand, just reaching a little too far. Come in 2 inches closer, but get deeper. Closer but deeper. Extend into the water. Right. And I think behind you would be Kathy, right? Enters here, buried. Still positive slightly. Right, but I'd like to see you get a little deeper with the outside shoulder. And then Monica's behind you. Enters here. Right. Like I said before, top hand a little too close to the face. And behind is Eva. Top right, oh Eva, right, coming down with the top hand. So you see, boom, and the top hand just rushes down. Right, so you're not anchored with the outside shoulder. Right, the blade's not buried. Okay, this was Wednesday's practice. Okay, I've done Sarah, Susanna. Let's take a look at Susanna. Right, she enters here, but only fully buried there. Right, paddle, when the blade's buried, the paddle angle is already neutral. It's not bad, it's okay, right? Top arm is nice, right? Look at Susanna's top arm, it's the right distance away from the face. Right, the thing is that just coming down a little too soon, right? Coming down with the top hand, just a little bit. We'd like to see just a little more rotation at the exit. Right, and a little slow coming out, but that's because she reaches too far forward, hanging in the air. Okay, now Teresa. Right, Teresa, shoulders are not a little unbalanced. Right, so you take a look. Teresa, your paddle is entering here, but it's buried when it's negative, right? And the reason for that is because you're coming down with the top shoulder and you're pulling back with the bottom shoulder, right? The top shoulder is really, you're just ripping the paddle down with the top shoulder. And you have to first stabilize the outside shoulder, right? So the outside shoulder is not stable, or you're breaking your bottom arm. It's not in tension, you're pulling the bottom arm back so the elbow breaks, and then you drive the top shoulder down so you don't have that stable upper body. So when you watch yourself paddle, you can see that your shoulders are kind of wobbly. Right, that's because you're coming down too soon. You need a little more patience. You need to establish support with the outside shoulder, connect with the water, lean on it, then focus on the inside hip swinging forward. However, right now it's all shoulder and arm paddling. Behind you is Donna. Looking good, Donna, actually. Nice. Right, I'd like to see a little bit more rotation. Overreaching a little too much with the bottom arm, top hand a little too close to the forehead. But you want to set the blade in the water, right? You figure out the rhythm. Your top hand's coming into the boat during the exit. Right, so you want to move away from that, and I'll talk about the exit later on. So behind you is Lauren again, and right, top hand a little too close to the forehead, and the bottom arm, and just overreaching a little bit, right? Just overreaching, so your paddle enters here, but you're only fully buried there. Right, watch where the tip of your paddle touches the surface and where the blade's buried. Right, so you don't have to, you don't have to reach that far. I'd say 2 or 3 inches closer to what you're doing right now, and that will allow you to lean on it. Okay, anyway, I am out. Thanks for watching. Bye.